very much, Deborah Woodson, for organizing this magnificent room in a bastion of democracy, of our civilization. And Baroness Uden, I just wanted to offer you a free copy of my book, From Fear to Freedom.
Thank you. I live by that principle.
Yes. Thank you. I also want to thank my friend Britton Ambrose, a renowned filmmaker and humanitarian. Thank you for being here today. Thank you all. So let me dive right into it. So when you hear about AI, you might think that we're going to start talking about Silicon Valley, about Apple, the latest what Elon Musk is thinking, or Jeff Bezos. But when I researched ancient Greece, I have found that the ancient Greeks had already invented steam-powered robots. Okay? If you Google it, robots in ancient Greece, you will find the steam-powered robots. Some of them would serve wine, right? A mechanical thing. They had sliding doors at the temples. We even had in the theaters, ancient theaters, what the Latin called Deus ex machina, the god from the machine, that would come into the theater when everybody needed saving. But these are robots, steam-powered robots. But what astounded me was that the Greeks had already imagined robots that could think for themselves. There is the famous myth of Talos, a great bronze robot created by the god Hephaestus, the Latin called him Vulcan, the smith of the gods. And Zeus had commissioned this robot that could think for itself to protect the island of Crete. So he would survey the island 3 times a day, protecting it, and when he saw an enemy ship, he would be able to hurl stones at it, big boulders, and crush the enemy in his own embrace, melting it. So the human imagination from ancient Greece and perhaps other cultures which I haven't researched enough, I'm sorry about that, I have probably conceived of AI. It's just that in our years now, we have created it. We are here now, right? So the thing is that with these beautiful machines come opportunities and threats, as Deborah Woodson was saying. And many of us are, unless we are not really aware of what's happening, many of us are afraid of the social unrest that will happen when thousands, hundreds and thousands of jobs will be laid off. I think the thing has been going so quickly that we haven't had time to think. I mean, we enjoy a ChatGPT, we enjoy the little banter, we may be using it in our work. I'm making it in my filmmaking, as Deborah said, to represent the Greek myths in a series, a television series about the Greek myths. And that's wonderful. I can create at the touch of a button. With a very low budget, I can create a film or series that I can sell to a platform or share on social media. So there are opportunities, but I'd like to know also from yourself, have any of you, this is not a monologue, in Greece we have dialogos, dialogue, okay? Greek philosophy is all about dialogue in order to come to the truth, to objective truth. There's no dogma in philosophy. There's questioning, a curious mind. So I'm curious, which of you lovely people would like to share just a thought that may come to you in the middle of the night, or have you thought about the threats that AI may present to you? A brave person, please. Stand up. What's your name?
My name is Sam Brittany, here from Chicago as a guest of Deborah. Thank you for having us. So I will say that recently I'm finishing editing a TV series that I shot. It was a low-budget series. We're very proud of the work that we did. It's very creative. I think we push a lot of conventions. and we really do some cool stuff with our storytelling. But at the end of the process, I got to a point where we have a very specific gag where we're teasing fake TV shows. And I had to create posters for that. And we didn't have any money to do that. So my choices were not do it or use AI to do it. And so I used AI to do it, but at night sometimes I think, am I taking an opportunity away from someone else? Is there another way I could have done this so I could pay an artist to make these? But for me, it was really just about the budget limitations. But as someone who does what I do to make art, it doesn't make it easier to sleep at night knowing that like this has only become more and more prevalent. And it is something that I also philosophically wrestle with because I recognize it's a tool, but it doesn't mean I feel good about doing it.
Thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
Sir.
Hi, my name is Bobby Cloud. I'm actually co-founder with Sam and Tony that are with me. I produce films, I'm a writer, and I was in a situation where I was between budgets, and I created the concepts for about 3 different AI short verticals. It wasn't something I was passionate about. I thought they were clever. I liked them. But the entire purpose of doing so is that as a market that I was able to get into, and I would be able to turn a profit in order to finance the other films. So it became a crutch. It's not something I would have ever done creatively if it wasn't something that came out of necessity. And I believe I'm going to address later. I have a lot of thoughts on this. I can speak a lot about it, but it will take time.
Thank you for sharing your thoughts. I'd love to hear Ben.
Yes, sorry.
You're an actor, are you not, Ben?
Yes, I am an actor. I do a lot of this stuff with AI.
What fears do you have about AI? Do you have any fears or anxiety?
Well, I've actually made films and a lot of content in AI. When I was working in Thailand last year with a publisher friend of mine, one of his charities is to help women in a certain area in Pakistan, in this case, women trafficking. His pastors came over and then I got to meet the pastors. And they also have another problem with children not wanting to go back to school to learn English and mathematics. Because they find that they can make more money in social media. So they want to learn. So they've got this issue. So I said, I think I can help them. And they just laughed at it. He said, why? Have you lived in Pakistan? I said, no. Do you know our culture? No. So then I wrote a song pretending I was a teenager who just wanted to make money through social media, being a cricket. And then I realized that I couldn't understand the contracts in English, and I was getting ripped off. I couldn't understand the mathematics. So I wrote the lyrics myself. I had it translated into, is it Urdu or whatever it is? So AI translated it for me. Then I did a hard copy so that I didn't make any mistakes, cultural mistakes with the words. Then I had AI put it into music form. Then I had AI create some video form. And then I gave it to, and also something that as people we can't do. I think, who would you feel is the greatest musician on the planet? Maybe Freddie Mercury, because he could do opera with pop and rock, yes? But no other musician could do that many genres. AI can do all of them together, right? So I had to use it. I found out what was a favorite music to listen to, which was Pakistani pop, and then I mixed it with Bhangra. Okay, and this did pretty well in that area. So I wasn't trying to make money or anything. I was just trying to deal with a situation which my understanding of acting and being a creator myself was able to deliver very quickly without having to organize musicians, without having to organize actors to get into place, without having to argue about what somebody says and what somebody doesn't say. I'm just trying to share other things that you can use AI for beyond making money from films. And I've done this with a number of other stories which I won't share.
I'm glad you're sharing. Thank you very much. We'll be able to continue later. Thank you. So I see a lot of you are embracing the technology, but I actually asked the question, that nobody really answered yet. You see, philosophy is about good listening and reflecting on your own thoughts. In this case, our fear. So many years ago, I came across a system that can help us to overcome any fear or anxiety that we may have. It's a timeless system that can help us to navigate through these difficult waters as we're all on a kind of treacherous odyssey with the opportunities and threats on our path. So, many years ago I was teaching leadership training, and I don't know if you're aware of it, but the oldest manual on influence and persuasion was written by Aristotle. It was a book or a scroll in those days, a best-selling scroll, we can say. A manual, like we have self-help books today, called The Rhetoric, How to Influence and Persuade. And as you may know, Aristotle was the tutor of Alexander the Great. So I think the results of some of his students really show that the system works. But they do teach this rhetorical triangle, which I'm going to share with you today, and how it will help you overcome your fear. So the system is very simple, how to influence and persuade people. It's a triangle. At the top of the triangle is ethos, okay? You will trust me if, as a leader, as a speaker, or even as a salesperson, if I walk my talk, if I have integrity, okay? I can't persuade you to stop smoking if I'm a smoker, right? You're like, she has no ethos, she has no credibility, no integrity. So the first thing is the leader or the persuader has to practice what they're preaching. The second element is pathos, from where the word passion comes from. You can say it is to connect with your audience. So I need to know the audience's fears, deepest fears, and promise them some solutions. Otherwise, why would you listen to me, right? I also need to know your greatest aspirations so that I can help you achieve those. This is the element of pathos. So it's like emotional connection with the audience. And the last element is logos, from where the word logic comes from. I need to present to you facts, statistics, and just general evidence to appeal to your logic. When I combine ethos, pathos, logos, I'm much better at influencing. So as I taught this system to managers for several years in Europe, I had a dream one night with the goddess Athena. Have any of you had inspirational dreams sometimes? I think some of you here, as artists especially. But so the goddess Athena came to me, and she said to me, you know, the system you teach of Aristotle, not only is it for persuading others, but it's about influencing and persuading yourself about any decision you have to make. It's like I was awakened by the dream, and this made me create my method. That's the 3 filters you need to pass any thought you have. Again, I'll give you a small story from ancient Greece that reflects these 3 principles. So Socrates was walking around in the agora, in the marketplace, Socrates, the great philosopher, and someone rushes up to him and says, Master, teacher, I heard something about one of your students. I want to tell you about it. And Socrates said, just a moment, before you tell me, I want to ask you 3 questions. Okay, what is it? And Socrates says, first, is what you're about to tell me true? Are you 100% sure it's true? And then he says, well, not really. I heard it from someone who heard it from someone else, so I'm not 100% sure. Okay, so this is ethos, truth, integrity. The other question is it kind? Is there goodness in it? And the guy says, well, no, not really. It's a bit of gossip, actually. No, it's just gossip. And so this is the element of pathos. Socrates says, is it useful to me? Is it practical and useful to me? No, it's not going to be practical. It's just... So this is logos, the element of logos that I explained, logic. And so he says, you want to tell me something that is not true, not kind, and not useful. No, I'm not interested. So what does this story have to tell you about your fears? Okay, so as AI comes up, as your job may be threatened at some times, and you need to make decisions, this is a very simple system to filter your thoughts. Basically, you catch the narrative in your own mind. Okay, so I would like to participate. Think for yourself, and don't worry, you won't have to share it. Think of one of your deepest fears right now, about AI or about anything in your life. I'm afraid I'm growing old. I'm afraid I'm losing my job. I'm afraid that my husband doesn't love me anymore. Anything you want. Just choose an anxiety, a fear that keeps you up at night. I think as human beings, we all have our fears and anxieties.
Yeah, plenty of that. I've got my age, but the fact that our children may have just been able to secure jobs and become children. But there is lack of progress. But more importantly, do our grandchildren have a future? I think do. Yeah.
So let's make it personal. Does my grandchild have a future in this world where people are speaking about mass unemployment? That is something that keeps you up at night. And the fear is they won't be employable, they won't be educated enough, they won't have the skills needed. Or make it personal, I won't. I can't catch up, I can't retrain. Maybe I'm a little too old, or maybe I don't understand technology. I have had this fear, I don't understand technology, so how am I going to keep up? I want you each, please raise your hand, you won't have to share it, but if you have thought of a fear or anxious thought that keeps you up at night. Just want to know that everyone participates. So any fear or anxiety you may have. Okay. So I want you to listen to that narrative, the story you're telling yourself. I won't, I can't, I'll never be able to. It's something like this, correct? This is the fear. This is a story you're telling yourself. So here you can pass it through the first filter. Is it true, for example, for myself, I'll give you an example. Is it true that I can't learn technology just because I studied philosophy? And I say to myself, hang on, that's not true. That's not true. I can find ways to learn. I can watch a YouTube video. I can go to someone to tutor me. I can ask a friend. I can learn. So it's not true, right? So you tell yourself, that story I'm telling myself is not true. It doesn't pass the test of ethos. Now I can say to them, is that kind? If I keep waking myself in the middle of the night and saying, you'll never be able to retrain, it's too late for you, you won't understand it. Is that a kind thing to do to yourself in the middle of the night or on and on playing this cassette? No, it's not kind, right? It has no pathos. And is it useful to me to continue having that thought? I want you to ask yourself, is it useful, of any use for you to perpetuate this fear, this narrative, which may not be true, it's not kind, and not useful to you? So now that we agree that sometimes we are like this person who ran up to Socrates, in our own mind is a thought like this, that we lie to ourselves. This was the whole life of Socrates, proving that we often lie to ourselves. That you shouldn't necessarily believe something just because you think it. About yourself, about others, about the world. You have to question your thought, okay? So now that you all have your narrative, I would like you to assist yourself, become your own philosopher mentor, and come up and transform this sentence, this narrative. I want you to come up with a new narrative that is more true, okay, is more kind and more useful. I didn't say you have to change completely, okay? I didn't say I'm a genius now in technology. I'm not going to lie to myself on the other side. I will say a new affirmation for myself, a new narrative would be, look, you've proven to yourself that you have learned new skills, you've learned new languages, and I can learn. I can learn, and I will find the right teachers. And if I don't have the money to do it, I will watch a lot of YouTube videos to train me. So I will find a way to maximize on AI for me. So this is my new narrative. As I'm talking, I would like you to work your own narrative. And if one of you is brave enough, I have a special book for you, signed. I have a few gifts. Beware of groups, better than gifts. I want you to, anyone who has the confidence to share their new narrative about your relation. I don't need to hear the old narrative, the fear-based narrative. I want to hear your new narrative, which has more freedom in it, which frees you from who you think you are. Would anyone like to share and receive a nice present from me? Please stand up and declare.
Hi, my name's Baba. I represent Peace and Love Movement, which is a pay-it-forward movement where we use acts of kindness in business and even in the film industry. And I know that's something that we don't hear, but that's because we're the first and only. So we've created a film production company that uses acts of kindness and solutions in everything we do in the films. So one of the things that I was so nervous about was how could I put acts of kindness into actually producing and making movies. And from what you've just told me, I can see that we can put an intention into every single film that we make, where the acts of kindness can be put forward using AI as a way that we can say, okay, you make this movie, it's solution-based, the money goes to good, because we don't get actually the profits, and that's how I see I could go forward with that. So, thank you so much.
What a mission.
I would be honored. Thank you so much.
So, my dear friend,
Oh,
anybody else would be willing to share their new narrative from fear to freedom? Is my precept method. Please, the lady in purple, what's your name?
Hi, my name is Tanya. So one of my fears, well, first of all, I would like to thank you for making me think about it. And I'll come back with you for speaking about Greek mythology. So, you know, some of us might be Zeuses. Don't give them the spark because, you know, they won't need us as gods. And others might be Prometheus. Give them the spark. Let's see what's going to happen.
Right.
So, different types of thinking.
Right.
So my biggest fear from my latest research that we did for a charity called AI was a research where we thought about what are the harms that youth is experiencing with AI chatbots currently. And I saw some kind of trends happening, and this was one of my fears that I had to overcome when it comes to AI. So I think if I think about through the new narrative of creating ways where we can bring more AI literacy, where children can be more educated in what they're doing, as well as help bring this research to people who can make policy change, then that way we can secure the future of the children and we don't have to constantly be in that fear of what's going to happen to them.
Okay, so what's your own mission statement? What is your new narrative for you? I am assisting, I am empowering.
I would say I am guiding people through that change by doing research.
There's a book. Get that book. You should get that book. Well done.
Lovely, lovely. So we have more gifts because I love to inspire with a little treat. I have these beautiful from Greece. Oh, says
You should get that one.
Yes,
You
I
should get
think
that one. It's your bit. Get that one. Get that one.
I'm
It's all
not
right.
the student over there in the corner. Yeah, that's you, that's you.
That's
Please
Balbi.
stand up. Everybody
Balbi's
knows
gotta
you,
get it.
For those who don't.
We all love Balbi.
Yeah.
Yes, we do.
A few years ago, if you'd actually met me, you would have only met me through a telephone line, and that was it. My biggest fear was actually meeting people. It's always been, I used to trade, 20 years as a trader, an equity trader, derivatives trader, traded anything that moved across the world in commodities. And then basically I pivoted towards helping people and putting people together. I suppose the biggest fear that I have every night now is how can I expand and get more good people together? What can I do to prevent people from self-destructing when you're building a community? And the reason why it comes more to the forefront is with WhatsApp, with social media, and a lot of AI, my name gets used quite a lot. Sometimes good, sometimes bad, in terms of people asking for money on social media, the WhatsApp groups, communities that I create. I don't take a penny from them. I don't want to take a penny from them. I do it because I just want somebody to have an opportunity. What Bubba didn't mention earlier on is her first husband won an Oscar. And a famous, very famous film director. And Sky Television. Vita's got 800,000 followers on her social media. And I heard a comment made to me 3 weeks ago. It was made by another community builder. And I said, do you know, someone that's got that many followers has probably bought her followers. So I was quite sceptical of it. So at night I had that fear. Have I done the right thing? So I actually approached her and I looked at her social media platform and she showed me a platform. 800,000 followers, and she consistently gets over 50,000 views per post that she does on Instagram. So that is phenomenal. Just for this event alone,
Yeah.
she actually posted yesterday, and the figures are over 48,000 views. So for me, my biggest fear is, how do I combat when people make statements about other people because they've relied it on social media?
Yeah.
When somebody makes a statement about somebody else's character, it might be from a personal point of view, or it might not be from a personal point of view. The amount of times I see myself being character assassinated makes me twice as well.
Yeah.
But the reason why I carry on going is never give up. And that's the mantra that I took after my car accident, and every single day. And every time somebody says something negative about anybody in that community, for me, you can have 99 people say something wrong against that one individual, but there's something special about that individual that made them do something, whether it's creative, whether it's naughty, to identify them and move them into a place that they can be happy. So before, I would be callous, completely callous, cut, never speak to you again. You do a trade with me, now it's not about the activity, it's about you as a person. If I remove you, and my psychological hurt you, and AI, and this is the beauty part of it, it's great to amplify, but it's also a real big tragedy because it can remove you off your platform if you put 1 or 2 keywords on your social media. And I'm more mindful of that because I had a very good friend, Adam, who I invited today along, and he built up a community of over 1,000 media people. And we worked really hard for 3 weeks. And then Adam got banned for his WhatsApp. We don't know the reason why. There's nothing derivative said. In fact, I probably said more derivative things than Adam ever did on social media. But it's that fear at night thinking, am I doing the right thing? Am I doing the right thing by bringing Phil, who runs his own family office, down here and connecting him up to somebody else that I don't know at all? Why am I doing this? My fear is overcome by one statement. It's good enough.
That's great.
Oh,
I think you are a living example of a person who has overcome fear after fear. So,
We have fear all the time. We all have
yes.
he's got to pick up his present.
He gets the purse.
Oh, no, you
Oh,
know
no.
the Octopus.
Oh,
The eye of the truth, because the truth shall prevail. The truth shall set you free. This is the message of philosophy. The truth shall set you free. And the truth does come out eventually. Anybody else would like to share about how they overcame a fear? Or a fear you had just a few moments ago, and now you're making a new story in your mind? I think my lesson is quite complete. I have no more to share with you. There's so many interesting people. I don't want to hog the floor, as they say.
I just want to know.
Yes.
Yes.
What did she do? Let me see. Oh, she deserves a medallion. The young lady chief donated
I'd like to say something.
one of boats to the Kids Parliament and UNICEF, and one of our peace and love boats for a film studio. With
Well done.
This medallion is the compass. It has ethos, pathos, logos. So
We are very honored to have you.
congratulations. Let me put that on you. Well, I think you need to put that on. Thank you.
It goes with your dress too.
It goes very well with us.
From one side.
What does this signify?
Ethos, pathos, logos. The triangle, the three principles. It's going to be a little, I think she should do it on her own at home then, but Deborah doesn't give up a challenge.
Never give up. That's
love his phrase.
I didn't want to take up your time, though.
But very, very well.
well done.
Incredible work. Thank you.
You
I'm going to just hand it over to Deborah when she's accomplished.
Okay, you see?
Yeah.
Done it.
This was the point that we were all going to stop and have a drink and scones and cream, and unfortunately there wasn't enough notice for catering, so we don't have that. But hopefully everyone's got a drink, there's water. If you haven't had a Greek cookie, you're more than welcome. So if you want to chat amongst yourselves, just give it a minute, and then we have a few people that would like to get up and say a few words. I think the easiest thing to do is just stand up where you are, just to give you an idea.
Just carry on the
I think we
discussion.
can carry
Yeah.
on.
Yeah, I think it's really nice.
We're rolling now. We're rolling.
I'm going to roll it. So the people that I have on my hit list, because I do, is of course we are going to start off with the lovely Vita.
But do not show me in that, okay? Because it's going to go live. Very important about photographs and videos. Do not please put it on social media, especially with me, and I'll get into huge difficulties. Members are not allowed in the committee room, so I think I want to make that point.
Yes, thank you so much. So I built my influencer pastor from 16 years old, and first I started to be a model for pharmacy brand, and I was curious where my pictures go, and I started to learn marketing and PR from this perspective. But then I understand that I really want to use my pictures in my way, in how I see it, and I start to grow my brand from when Instagram can appear, and I just start to put like pictures that was produced by companies, and grow my audience from 200,000 followers in Ukraine to 800,000 followers here in the UK. With now my knowledge in marketing and PR and of course content production, I did it, and I grow my also marketing agency in Ukraine. It was 7 people, the company, and we promote more than 100 companies. It was only USA companies, and one of our clients was Mike Tyson. And yes. But yes, after the war now I started again, and I have 2 people who support me, and people know also I do the same British companies, and as in France I work with a brand ambassador with General, Mars, Critique, Adobe, Meta with different brands, and now I produce AI content from 2 perspectives, as influencer for my social media, and for companies and personal brands as owner of marketing agency, and I also founder of G-Creators, it's AI operational system for creators, and we received Best Creative Startup UK Award this year. Yes, thank you so much. We have launched this year, and it's like a huge milestone for us.
What's your Instagram handle? What's your Instagram handle?
Me America. It was like the first modeling agency 16 years when I started, so I take this name. Yes, long story. Yes, and AI content, I think it's like new technology revolution, and I'm so excited about what possibility we can do with that for all these things that I mentioned, and now I need to hire a team. I need to have a lot of outfits, makeups, a lot of people that help me. Now with AI, I can do it only by myself. And using all these tools that I mentioned, I'm so lucky to work with all these technology giants like H&M, 11 Labs, and close work with the team. And it's all only start from prompts. So if you know how to write the right prompt, you can do everything now without any team. Of course, I think it's not like replace our creativity, it's just amplify it, and so just help to do to share what we feel inside outside, and show it to the world. So and I just recommend to use real content with AI content, and help to spread your creativity.
Aww.
Very much. We've been very lucky. We've got some very interesting people in the industry that are trying to balance, as you were saying before, between what we want to do as creatives against that sort of moral sort of oh my God, should I really be doing it? But I do feel that this is the next revolution. The horse has already left the stable. And unless we can get behind it and start learning how to navigate this, then it's going to be difficult. That I founded an organisation called Animated Women UK, and they were originally going to be part of this, but there was such a debate because when they went to Annecy, someone put up an AI film and the whole place booed and walked out in Annecy. So it became such a debate with regards to them coming. They said, actually, I think it's better if we decline on this occasion. They were saying that there's so much to navigate because it's become such an emotional. People feel as if their creative blood has been sucked away from this tool. But as a creative myself for many, many years, I know that I see it as an assistant tool, not a takeover tool. It's my analogy earlier. the end product is only as good as what I do with the hammer. So the next person I have on my hit list is Phil.
That's me.
That's Phil.
Hello everyone, just a quick disclaimer, because I feel that's a bit of the theme today. I don't come from the film industry, but I come from an industry that I would say is pretty much alike, which is the music industry, just as a quick disclaimer. So, and to apologize if I use a paper to read from. This was well, I'm very honored, a very last minute invitation, so I didn't have time to.
That's my tool all the time, so carry on.
No,
Yes, we love
So,
it.
my name is Philip Robo. I'm the CEO and founder of JPR Consulting, a consultancy that specializes in fractionized COO services for business in the electronic music space. In simple terms, I step in and help companies improve their operations without getting pulled into daily distractions. Through this, I currently serve as active CEO at one of the world's largest PR and marketing agencies in electronic music and as COO of Mixmag, the biggest media outlet in electronic music, where I oversee our territories across Germany, Italy, the Netherlands, the Caribbean, and Latin America. Alongside this, I also represent a German family office, actively investing in music tech with a special focus on AI. I want to start by saying that this is an honor to stand here and share some experience on a topic that I'm sure will define everyone's path ahead. Rather than giving you my personal opinion, I'd rather share an observation I encounter daily in my field, paired with some very recent data from a survey conducted by KPMG, which I think hits the nail on the head, as we say in German. KPMG just surveyed 1,000 senior leaders across 20 countries. 95% of organizations now have an AI strategy. Around 40% are scaling AI enterprise-wide. But only 8% report an established measurable return on that investment. That gap is something I see operationally every single day. Running a PR agency at one of the most relevant media outlets in music, and equally an investment conversation with young music tech founders. The question is no longer whether AI works. The question is whether organizations are actually built for it. Process should follow strategy, and organizations should follow process, not the other way around. If you bolt AI onto an unchanged organization, you stay stuck in pilot phase forever. There are 3 observations I want to share with you today from the front line. The first one is organization before technology. In restructuring Mixmag's global operations, we've seen that AI adoption only works once roles, decision rights, and KPIs are clearly defined, not after. The latest KPM research confirms exactly this. The front runners embed AI with clear ownership and governance by design inside their target operational model, rather than running isolated pilots that never really scale. Second, data is the real bottleneck, not creativity or ambition. The entertainment industry is notoriously fragmented when it comes to data. Rights, royalties, fan and customer data scattered across ticketing, socials, and PR systems. Without a trustworthy, AI-ready data foundation, every AI initiative ends up as a disconnected patchwork. Third, when agents act autonomously, governance has to operate in real time. Once AI agents start making operational decisions, dynamic ticketing prices, content approvals, content review, periodic, retrospective controls simply aren't enough anymore. That's true for a record label, the film industry, as much as a PR agency. These same 3 things, organization, data, and governance, have become more important diligence criteria for the family office I present as well, than the product itself in the pitch deck. A music tech startup can have brilliant AI technology, but without a clear operational model at the customer end, it simply won't scale. The family office increasingly invests in teams that bring execution capability with them, not just the technology. So, the entertainment industry has no shortage of creativity or willingness to adopt AI. What's really missing is organizational translation work. This is no longer a technology problem. It's a leadership task. And I believe that means looking more closely at how we educate the leaders of tomorrow. Implementing the technology itself matters, of course. But I believe this will only happen at scale, globally, once we rewire our leaders themselves thinking about this challenge. Thank you very much.
Now I wish I brought my notes, because that's very good, wasn't it? Yes, marvellous. So the next person on my guest list, lovely.
Over to me?
Yes.
Another prize.
Wow, this time of the thing. Well, it's a huge honor to be here today, to be even invited, because, you know, when I talk about the film industry, when I talk about that, the first thing people talk about is money. And because I only do pay it forward businesses, people obviously say, but Baba, how did the two go together? And the concept is like all of my businesses, which are pay it forward businesses, it's actually about the creators. It's about the people who make the movies. And so what we're doing is we're actually taking care of the people who make the films, the producers, the directors, the actors, the technicians and stuff. And we're going to come together with people in AI to see how it can be used as a force for good. I don't know how that's going to work. That's why we're working with people to show us the way. So that's why my daughter Chay's here today. She represents Kids Parliament and Peace Freaks, which is a non-monetized platform and TV show to show all of the things that we're talking about. How you can actually pay it forward, acts of kindness, not try to mess up the industry. How many people have had a movie that nearly got made and didn't because the film producers at the last minute had decided that they wanted to film to go down that angle, or the last edit was going to go down that angle. So by using movies and the industry as a force for good, as a pay-it-forward force for good, we're showing that we can do this. We're the first and only film production company in the world that is doing this. And we're only taking films that are based on peace and love. If it's about conflict, it has to have resolution. And so what we're showing is, how can AI be a force for good? And we don't really stop with that. We use children, because they're going to take over the future, to show how that's going to be. So it's going to be, how do we make it a force for good? Let's not take that it is a force for good. How can kids' parliaments in every single country in the world make AI be a force for good? Well, it's in their hands. They're going to show people in every single country, in every single parliament, how that's going to happen, because they're going to inherit it from us. So we're doing acts of kindness into every movie. Nobody thought that was possible. We get them to set an intention into every single film that they do. We get it to be solution-based. That means every project, every movie that they do has to make the world a better place. Everybody said, oh, not everybody, but a lot of people said that would be impossible. Well, we're living proof that it actually is possible. So we live by example, and we're showing the children that it can be done. And thank you. It's a real honor to be here talking today.
What's your Instagram handle?
I don't do Instagram.
What's your website?
So it's Peace and Love, and we're actually launching through Vita, very kindly, is going to be taking over our Instagram, creating it, and that's what we're going to be doing. But Kids Parliament and Peace Freaks is going to be everywhere globally, and so it's so important that they're here to represent.
Are you talking about the UK children's parliament?
I'm talking about the Mozambican Kids Parliament. I'm Mozambican Venezuela, so we started in Mozambique. Now we're doing it in the UK. We're taking it to Mongolia in America, and it's going to be in every single country in the world, in Cape Verde, everywhere. So yeah, showing how kids get to have a voice at the table, how AI is going to be a force for good, they're going to make it a force for good.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
I've been co-chairing the UK Children's Parliament. Sir David Emis's Children's Parliament. Yeah, so I think that we've done one of the first piece of work that we did was about AI and its impact on children. So it would be really good to keep in touch.
I would love that.
There's a very lively EPPT. It was just set up last week, formally again, reinstituted. So yeah, that would be great.
That would be wonderful. Because we have boats at Peace and Love, we donated a boat to the Kids Parliament, the UK Kids Parliament, for them to use here in Chelsea, so that it can go in front of the Houses of Parliament to be used as a boat for good. So there they'll be able to actually have their podcast, their film studio, to discuss all of this, so that they can then talk about it.
The UK Children's Parliament, or Sir David Emis's Children's Parliament, actually organised a 500 children online discussion, and with many nations, including several African nations. We raised the issue of water, and I think some of the children from the UK actually donated some funds. They were from their pocket money or whatever. Very profound. Very interestingly, some, including Obama Foundation, which is based in Ghana, children don't have their computers, and I'm really surprised that he's floating around like the butterflies of saviors of the world that he pretends to be. Doesn't have his own foundation, doesn't have computers, and we were really flabbergasted. I think that's something that the UK Children's Parliament, Sir David's Children's Parliament, has taken on as well. So yeah.
I think that the kids are now so activated with the help of social media, with the help of the internet. Children in Mozambique are able to do a live feed to anywhere in the world, where so many children weren't allowed to go into actual school during the time of the Portuguese, when they had Mozambique. They're now able to have a platform to the whole world. So I think all of our businesses start in Mozambique proudly and then are sent out to the world. So and Che was raised in Mozambique, in school there, and now she's in school in England. So I think that's another wonderful platform.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now the next person on my hit list is Nitin.
Hello, good afternoon everybody. It's a wonderful speeches which I've heard, and I'm so impressed. I would like to just come on the topic of AI and substitute what I know as part of knowledge. So AI first accommodation was done by the United Nations in 2021, which was formed due to the reason was movies. The reason of movies was there were, I'm just going to go on my notes which I just wrote right now. There were a couple of movies which was The Brutalist and Emilia Perez. Brutalist and Emilia Perez were not considered for Oscars just because they used AI for the Oscars of 2022. And for that they had to form a legislation of AI for AI to be included in general purpose work. So until 2022, Oscars had no nominations for movies who had represented AI or use AI instead of CGI, which was the original method. So this is the transition period which started from 2021. So we are here in the AI age. So generally speaking, we use AI in everything. So AI, as in movies, I can say, is the baby of CGI. CGI was always used in movies before. The only difference between CGI and AI from a layman's perspective is that CGI was all controlled in one server room, and AI is used from a decentralized server, which can be, the information can be anywhere. So I think it's the formal recognition of CGI and AI, but the most definitive work which comes into differentiation is when we did CGI, all the copyright was belonging to the studios, and when it is done by AI, let's say a movie was created in 1964 and now they want to reproduce and do something. So who does the copyright belong to? The producer, the actor, the viewers, the various organizations who took the Copyright Act. So those are a bit of gray areas which needs to be looked at. The new legislation is very good. So I'll just try to go through AI. I just wanted to inform everybody, what does it actually entail? So there are broadly two types of AI which we think. And one is a generative AI and one is agentic AI. So we are here for the movie part, and we normally use the generative AI, which is for creative, reactive, human-guided. It has no memory in it, and it is only information-based. Whereas the other part is used by action. You can formulate an action with it, like what traders use in the trading. They need an action, they need reaction, they need an autonomous flow, and it has a resistant memory to it, so it can run automate process on itself. Generative AI cannot. It has always to be feeded with work. Let's say Vita is a creative contender. She feeds the work. She gives the prompt, so it generates something. Now, whatever she generates legally should be belonging to her, as long as she's not using somebody else's music. If she's using somebody else's music, that needs a copyright permission or a license. So the basic thing which has come around in the world now is, due to the formation of this AI, there is a more of legal grey holes. So those legal grey holes should be adhered, because content creation should go, it's the new way of content creation, and the world has to adapt to it. Legislation has come in US, but what producers are doing at the moment, they are leaving the US territory. They are setting up studios, like offshore banks are in every places. They are setting up offshore studios where laws are not there, and there's always a way around. But I always believe getting the content right and getting proper credit to all the actors and all the content creators is the basic thing. So I just jotted out a few movies. I don't know how many people are interested here in movies or know about that, which has had AI. The Thor movie, the Thor Love and Thunder, I had the baby Thor. That was AI generated. And at that point, now it's a legal loophole as well, Disney's boss was Bob Chapek's son, which was used as a model for AI for that. Now the baby Thor, whether it belongs to the Disney boss, was using the Disney studio, belongs to Disney, or his mother can tomorrow tell, use my son's imagery to it. That's a legal loophole. But that's how this law and this law creation has to not be in a standard. It has to be very volatile, which takes all the considerations into it. So there was a movie in Irishman. Martin Scorsese used AI to make actors look younger. Ant-Man and the Wasp in Quantumania, Indiana Jones, and the Dial of Destiny 2023 made, of course, Harrison Ford much younger. Late Night of the Devil, The Complete Unknown in 2024, Hair in 2024, Young Washington in 2026, As Deep as the Grave in 2026, which is not released. So it had a very sad case that the movie started in 2019, 2020 COVID came, and the actor Val Kilmer, he had COVID. So he had a severe lung infection for which he died in 2025. So AI is used to create that movie under the contract that he signed the movie and his family trust signed for it. So it is yet to be released. Lord of the Rings and Hunt for the Golem in 2027, that's using AI as 40%. And Bitcoin, the movie on the famous founder, that is using 80% of AI to create the Bitcoin founder as a movie. So my aspect on AI, I'm coming from United Nations perspective, is to amalgamate systems which all countries adhere, so we are under one umbrella at least, to give the laws and formulate new things which are more for peace. That's what I would like to say. Thank you very much. If you have any questions, please let me
know. Okay, well, thank you very much for that. And I think the next person I will call is, I will sort of skip the next one on my list and circle back. I will go to Ruba. Where are you, darling?
Yeah. My name is Ruba Barada. I am a writer, poet. I'm also a filmmaker. I started my filmmaking with my late husband, Hollywood, from the producer of Andrew. And we built also an international film festival back in 2016 in Sochi on the Black Sea front. But then we decided that it has to have one, and in Britain, so one festival is taking place in Sochi, another one is taking place in London, but from 2022 we hosted this festival only in London. I'm hosting, unfortunately, I have only 3 shows. And regarding the dreams, I use it to express. Yes, I had a dream when I was building my festival. I couldn't decide what the sculpture, the award will look like, and what the mission it could have. I knew it should be a rating. I had a dream that of course, it's a Greece legend. The god is coming from the ocean, but since it was Iris, the messenger, who brought the peace message, the good message, because we had a fear in those years what is going to happen. So I wanted it to be a peace messenger. So in Irish, in national languages, a leader means peace. A message of peace to people, to remove the fear, to remove what we all are afraid of. And I was building this festival as an exchange of culture and knowledge, and literature and art. So we know better each other, because when we don't know each other, then it's hard to understand each other. Unfortunately, the biggest fear that I had while I was building this festival happened. However, as you say, Albert, keep going, keep moving, and never give up. I never gave up. And doing exchange of culture and never stopped the festival. Now we're hosting it on the Caribbean Greece every night in November. We already had behind us 10 years of decade, and this year we're going to host our 16th film festival. So yes, this is what I'm doing, and I believe that coming to AI, right? So since Iris is a messenger, I believe that Iris will bring AI as a new message, a good message to human beings, because I've already screened one film made on AI. I don't know how it works, but a couple of years ago, when an artist from Kenya brought her painting dedicated to immigrants of this country, very close subject to my heart, she made a film. Her painting became a film. And that was very interesting. I screened it and we awarded her. And last year, the opening film was Eugene Onegin by Martha Hines, where Ralph Fiennes played a lead. And the film was made in 1999, and it wasn't in a good quality anymore. It had to be recreated, and here
AI helped Mark to recreate it so we could screen Olympian as absolutely new, freshly made film. So twice I saw that AI helped, and the third time we built a new website. My son graduated from design engineering indeed, and he faced problems finding a job because robots replace the digital designing and so stuff, but he is brilliant. So he started building my website, and he is using so many AI tools for me. So my website is becoming something I never could imagine. So here we go. All fears are overcome. I'm welcoming AI. If I forgot anything, I also wrote few things. Yes, I also wanted to say that when the cinema came, as we enter the age of artificial intelligence, will AI replace artists, filmmakers, writers? Will I be replaced as an author, or as a poet, or musicians? I think no. My answer is no, because the way we feel, the way we cry, and the way we feel happiness, I hope that robots cannot feel the same, right? So undoubtedly, it will transform our industry. It will help us as instrument, as a tool, but will help us maybe to write scripts, rather structure, but I'm absolutely sure that it will not replace us. So we're safe, and also when the television, TV happened, cinema still didn't remain. So we still go to cinema. When we had cinemas, we were afraid that theaters are going to go, but humans will still need their feelings on the stage. So yes, I feel safe. I just want to thank you all again for having me. And yes, love you. I keep going. We should keep going. Thank you so much.
Thank you, thanks, Luba. Now the typical Energizer bunny called Mr. Barbier keeps adding people to the list. So I will try and we are doing okay for time at the moment, no aren't we? So okay, so the next on my hit list would be Andrew.
Aha.
Over to you, darling.
Thank you very much. It's nice that people have already left the room before I start. Isn't that good? Well worth it. Thank you, they did. They've heard it all before, which is interesting. They are coming back, and there's a reason they should come back. I'm Andrew Eborn. I'm a barrister, broadcaster, futurist, and also president of Octopus TV. And firstly, may I say congratulations on your many years of service on Saturday. I also know, because a little birdie told me, that tomorrow is actually your birthday. So many happy returns for that. Wonderful stuff. There are cakes for later, but very good indeed. I wanted to pick up on a few points because we've got some brilliant speakers here today. I talk around the world on AI and basically educating people because I want to put the AI into Britain. You see what I did there? The reality is this, is that AI is perhaps our greatest human achievement, but also potentially the biggest existential threat. And what we need to look at are the capabilities, understand those capabilities, and how we can harness those for good. So if I can pick up on some of the points that were made, Balbir talked about trust. And I always say that trust comes in on foot and leaves on horseback. And trust in the media at the moment is at an all-time low. And the reason for that is partly for the other things about the fake news. We're drowning in a sea of misinformation and disinformation. And it's separating the truth, if you like, to search for the truth from those lies. Now in law we say you're the whole truth, the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Sounds like a multiple choice now, doesn't it? You've got to work out how do we distinguish between what is true and what is lies. And again, AI can work on that sort of basis. Talking about acting, it's interesting hearing our colleagues over here who came from the States and how they've used AI and have been quite apologetic about it because it saved money. Heaven forbid you save money by using AI. And the problem is this, is that it will put lots and lots of people out of work. It's going to be cheaper using AI because it can get an actor. One of the big debates they had in America, SAG-AFTRA is the union over there, equivalent to equity over here. Their big debate, and the reason they went on strike, is they could record an actor just for half a day, pay them half a day's wages, and you would never need to use that actor again. Because you can put them in every possible role you can turn down on that sort of basis. So what they needed was safeguards put in place on that sort of thing. So we need to understand that capability whilst also making those savings. The best solution, as I would say, is that you use it as a co-pilot. Because going to the copyright point, and my background's as an intellectual property lawyer, there has to be a human element in order to get copyright protection. That's how you do it. If you make sure you use it like any other tool throughout this industry, we use it as a tool for good, for tidying up recordings. You talked about that. It happens in music. There was a Beatles recording with John Lennon. You remember, it was a very scratchy thing. They couldn't use it beforehand. Yoko didn't like it. She doesn't like many things, but that's a different thing. But it was basically tidied up. So seismic changes for good. AI in medicine is inventing cures for diseases every single day. So it's curing diseases we never thought possible. It's a tremendous force for good. But we have to understand that principle. It's interesting, I don't know, did anybody go to the AI Summit? Some of you, I think, went to the AI Summit here in London. And the BBC were talking about how they use AI and actually how they throttle it. Because what happens is the training for a lot of people, when you broadcast the programme, and now I'm on more platforms than Paddington, but what happens is when you have a programme, there would be somebody who would do a transcript, which would then go in the magazine or on that. And it used to be a great way of training young journalists. It's obviously a perfect thing for AI to do now. They can just do that. You don't need the young journalists. What the BBC has said is that we won't let them do the whole thing. We'll let basically they can do the first draft of it, but the trainees would have to do the final draft. So we need a human element within this. And that's the way to look at it. It's about co-creating and using that as a powerful tool. We always talk about artificial intelligence, but not about natural stupidity. And that's what we need to look at. Look at that for a difference. The final point I would make is to do with Aristotle. Bring it back to Aristotle. Because Aristotle said, show me a child to the age of 7, and I'll show you the man or the woman. The reality is this, is the next generation are the ones who are going to change things. Worried about your jobs? Well, look back 40 years, 60% of the jobs today weren't even thought of. What you need to do is understand the technology, embrace that technology, and also listen to the voice of the youth. And with that in mind, Barbara and I are working on a number of initiatives. I have the joy of broadcasting, I'm sure, and I've seen a number of you on the boat. I have the broadcasting on a regular basis on the Thames. We encourage a number of things. We talk about common ground. We're trying to find where we live in a world of division, trying to get diverse voices and trying to find the common ground, rather than what lots of broadcasters do accentuate. It's P.T. Barnum who said, if you want to draw a crowd, start a fight. Well, so many people in the media start that fight, they poke the bear. What we're doing with Common Ground is tackling the biggest issues of today, getting alternative voices, listening to all sides, and find resolution. And that is so, so important. But the other thing is that in elections, and this is why it's important, in elections the biggest winner is always apathy. What we need to do is to make sure we get politicians who can inspire us, politicians who can be honest, and so the younger that we can start people having that discussion, the better. And with that in mind, I'm very honoured for her first speech to a packed house. A few words, a huge round of applause for Che, please.
Hi, my name's Che and I'm 12 years old. I'm so excited to represent kids from all around the world and to represent peace freaks and kids parliaments. I'm excited to learn about how AI can be used as tools for good to make the world a kinder place and bring more peace and love to the world. Thank you.
There you go. Fantastic. Well done.
Okay, the next person on my list.
Well, I was just going to add one data point to what you said,
Yes.
if I might, because I think it's really relevant. I'm a member of SAG-AFTRA. I've been a member for a long time. The main debate over the strike was exactly like you said. Everyone is terrified and doesn't know what's going on. And as one example of how monumental this is and how many people are going to lose jobs, 20% of SAG-AFTRA are background actors.
Yes.
And those people are all going to be replaced by NPCs, if not now, tomorrow, because they can use the Unreal Engine, create digital background actors, and that's 20% of the guild that will be immediately out of work. And no one knows what to do about that. Everyone is terrified. But, you know, I think when we were talking about at home, someone said, think of people that made buggy whips. At one point, there were a bunch of people that made buggy whips. It was an important, valuable job. But then when cars came around, that was just not relevant employment anymore. And it's a very harsh truth. But like in Los Angeles right now, because this is happening today, right now, this is the realization that everybody's coming to. I just wanted to add that like 20% is going to be out of work.
Can I put a gloss on that? Because it is something that I've debated a lot. And it's not just actors, you're absolutely right. There are people in the music industry, there are people in the other creative industries. The way these massive machines work is by scraping the internet, using existing works. You're using existing talent to create these artificial digital twins, if you like. And that's another huge business.
Yes.
The secret is understanding what is the capability, not pretending it's not here. And that's exactly right you call that out. But trying to work out a commercial mechanism that you can reward people for their original talent. So, for example, I work with holograms. If you can make money in your sleep because a digital twin of yours is performing on a stage around the world, and we do this with major artists, that is the future. But it boils down to commercial reality. Because the way these machines work is they scrape the internet for millions and millions, literally, music and other copyright works to come out with that mechanism. And that's the difficulty, how you divide up that on a mechanism.
Oh, sorry.
So I was giving away, I've been like Parliament. It sounds good.
I'm only going to give one sentence. You talked about natural stupidity. Because AI scrapes everything, you will also have artificial stupidity. Because it's scraping a lot of misinformation as well as good information. That's why you always need it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I have one very relevant
I've started a debate.
You did.
I have one very relevant example which is relevant to the industry. There's a very big comedian in India, massive, he has had massive scores, and suddenly he was under a litigation. So he was under such a litigation as, what happens with famous people, people storm their houses, burn them and stuff. He was under legal triangle. He was in US. So I don't know, he called me. He's my brother's good friend. I said to him, come to London because we can't talk over the phone. I don't know what have you done, and I don't know. He came. Well, of course, I researched the case. He wanted to come back. Nobody in the industry wanted to work with him. No singer, no actor, no cameraman, zero. I just said to him, I don't know. I just said to him, we were just having sandwiches here in Green Park, just generally, I said to him, what is your way through? He said, I'm going to sign people and get a contract with them, generate the AI image of them, and try to do a mock show like that. I just said to him, if you're doing that, why don't you generate an AI song from a folk tale and make a new show out of it? So he had a comeback last month. No artist wanted to work with him. He had got the Supreme Court's clearance. He made a song in AI from the local folk tales using local LLMs, which is local language models. When industry, like music industry, he needed music, you all need music for the show, at least in Indian show, there's a lot of music around that. So AI came to help a person nobody was willing to work with him, and he had the comeback, and he had the comebacks of the comeback, And now, of course, he's inviting all the artists to be with him and stuff. But this is a very recent example in AI where AI has come to rescue somebody where nobody wants to work with them.
No.
Interesting.
It is very, very difficult in the industry at the moment. That it's very much a heated debate. And I think what you were saying with regards to the whip makers or the gaslight turner on and offers. The industry, the whole world over the last few hundred millennia has created new jobs and new jobs and new jobs. And it's about, I think, for me, the most important thing we do is make sure that the future generations have something that they can aspire to do and create and become. That's the main thing that we need to look at because it is a tool. But what we want to do is, I think when I first left school, we aspired to get a job, to buy a house, to buy a car. These are out of reach for a lot of this young lady's generation. So and having systems that are coming in place that makes getting paid work even harder, then we need to make sure that there's some way for us to be able to create a rising tide that lifts all of the boats, not just leave some of them anchored on the ground.
Just rising out of what Nathan said. Lately I've been watching quite a lot of YouTube materials very apparently created by AI. But I think it's very inventive because they are recreating the stories that certainly Western countries have abandoned on colonization, on slavery movements, and also advancing really positive models of example of what's happening in Africa, what's happening in the global south. And I really find that really very powerful. And I send it to my family. We have a family WhatsApp group just like everybody has probably. And I think it's really empowering the younger generation with knowledge. And I know that the US has said that, for instance, some of that is fake news and it's creating unnecessary heroes, and who can forget the Lego models and what they're doing to inform us. Yes. Absolutely. Me too. Yeah,
Me too.
So I think that there are opportunities for really empowering younger generation with truth. If we can have some safeguards, which I'm constantly talking about safeguards, if we can have safeguards, and I think it's really telling your own narrative, telling your, something positive. I think that is a very, very powerful message about AI. Tool if they're used properly. Obviously, we're not going to mention what Rob did even a couple of days ago with some kids' images and all of that. And so there are huge blocks that we do not understand and we cannot seem to be overcoming. But I think that's the responsibility of all of us who are here.
I must admit, I think the person that's in charge of that and various platforms that particular person is only on is actually, I think, in my frequency. So we will not talk anymore with regards to that gentleman. So what we'll do is, I'm going to switch it around a bit to get us back in order. But Adam, I've got you down on the list.
Hi, I'm Professor Adam Richards. I'm a professor of film, media and martial arts. I started off my career in Hong Kong as a stuntman with Jackie Chan, part of the stunt team and that, and then went out to do the Power Rangers, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, which a lot of that is used now, but the Power Rangers is even using AI to do the Power Ranger flip tracks and everything. So the stuntman trade has been a hit for years, which SAG, yes, got on strike for AI, but they seem to forget about the stuntmen, which is a bit disappointing. Because green screen sort of like killed out stuntmen. Over here we've got background artists which do stunts as well, which is killing the stunt industry as well. And even if you look at, say like Rocky film, you had all the background artists standing in the crowd, but then if you look at the Creed, which is the newer version of it, it's all AI generated background artists now, so the trade is slowly dying. But what you can use AI for is proof of concept, I believe. I think it's very good for going to an investor. I got one sent to me last year, and last year it sort of like was based on a volcanic eruption in Mexico. I thought we went out to actually shoot some of it in Mexico. It was that good. The first couple of scenes, you're looking at it, the first 10 seconds looks amazing, you know. But he used it as a proof of concept to try and get funding to direct it. So you can use it for good as well. You know, so there's good points with it. But proof of concept, I think, is the best way to go. If you get 3 minutes sort of proof of concept, it saves you a lot of money. Then that's the way of using it, the best way to use it for that. So, yeah, so.
Yeah. Well, you know, the thing is you know, it is going to be a sticky road that we go down, and we're going to have to be considerate of how we use it as we're creating stuff. I think, you know, as the Baroness was saying earlier, one of the things that you know, my moral compass, so to speak, hasn't felt so bad doing a lot of stuff with AI, because we're actually doing it for people who wouldn't have been using actors or using those things, because like for the Corfu auditorium, the Greek government don't have the sort of money to be able to create this sort of content. And you know, as the Baroness was saying, with these stories, the ancient stories, you know, being able to tell it, make them come alive. You know, the Agio myths we're doing at the moment, talking about Greek philosophy. You know, this is, it's taken away from real actors being able to do it, but you never have had the budget to do that. However, what you are doing is creating additional work for artists and creators, and it is only as good as the people that are creating it. As I said, it's all to do with this hammer. But you guys, did you want to stand up and say something about what you guys are doing with your platform now?
I had prepared remarks, and I will tell you, they've gone out the window. And the reason is you've covered so many of them. This is, and I'm stunned. This is the most forward-thinking group of people in the industry I've ever sat with. So I want So just my thoughts on AI. I'll give you a brief on that because I don't have to go through everything now. Thank you for that. Because I was very nervous to be here. The issue really is the industry, the fractured industry that we have, and the predatory and extractive techniques that are used by the distribution, that is through all of the things that we have to pay and the waterfall. And the reason AI is so popular, in my opinion, is because it is so inexpensive. You're able to create things you otherwise wouldn't be able to make the money back in order to get to the next project. I would always rather use actors. I would always rather use, if possible, real practical effects. One of my favorite movies is Bram Stoker's Dracula. All old school practical effects. Love it. And one of the ways what we do is, these are my two co-founders, we're Indio, and we're in beta testing right now. We're built out, and it is a completely separate distribution network that removes the necessity for distributors, sales agents, or booking agents. So it is the lifetime, and when I say lifetime, I'm talking about the youth. We even have a program that we have that's nonprofit for children, where they can put on festivals, go to their local theater, ask them to sign up. It's free. And not just free for the children, it's free for the theaters, it's free for the audience, it's free for the filmmakers. Because who is the person that is paying for the eyeballs, the attention? It's the advertisers. So we have a completely separate system that interconnects from all the way to a film club in a high school or equivalent here. I don't know what they call them. From there, they can do that, they can go to the theater, they can raise money, and we're doing that as a nonprofit arm of what we're doing in order for them to raise money to get equipment to continue to do that, which is the general idea of all creativity. It's not to just do a one-off. There are very few artists that have one thing that they've done because it's an addictive, beautiful process. So you can go in, it has an entire marketplace in order to connect with people like this. You can all have profiles in what you do. You can find your actors. I don't know if anyone has ever shot in a place where you don't live and you don't know anyone. You're trusting completely whoever it is that you know first. On everyone that you're going to get with no background, no information that is shared, then finding funding, which is extremely difficult because there's no pathway forward for you to be able to find, how am I going to show you? You're going to invest in my film. It's going to be wonderful. It's going to be great. Great, I want to invest. I love the idea. How are you going to make my money back? Yeah. I don't know. I hope. So having everything connected from that financing all the way into the theater network, and having theaters be able to communicate directly, not having to have booking agents, having people own their own licensing. And what we're doing is, instead of all the streaming services, because we're not truly a streaming service, we're a connective tissue between all of this fragmented business, this industry that is completely separated, so every single person that is not a creative in that process can extract a little bit of that money. Right. That money never falls back to that next project. And so we got very tired of being part of this process. I've got 3 distributors. I have 2 films that are out right now. I have one that was released in 24, released all over. I got huge publicity. All Fox News affiliates did a morning program on every local news station in the United States and Canada. That was November of 24. I won Temecula, so it's a good movie, I think. I won Temecula, which that's a pretty big deal in LA. And I still owe $1,600 to my distributor.
Yeah.
We made $1. We got tired of this, and we built a solution. And I think the problem with AI is there's not a solution. There's no way. If I wanted, I told a story earlier for you. The only reason that I even got interested in doing an AI vertical was so I could make money to make my next film, where I was going to cast actors. Now, I love your point as well, that people that don't have the money can now create something, and I think that's good work, and I think that's what it's for. But what has happened is we have this extractive predatory industry where everyone is, it's the business side that is the issue. Yeah. And it is the control. I mean, they just announced that 12 states are suing to do an injunction to stop this merger between Paramount and taking over Warner Brothers. Yeah. The fear is that happens, they're going to own 1/3 of the entire U.S. market, and we're talking about theater distribution and streaming. Well, when you have that, how many people are making these decisions? You have a few thousand people that decide what all of us get to be able to watch. Now, we're in a very different category.
And think, that's right.
That's absolutely true, because if you control what people watch, you're controlling what they think.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
The idea of this few thousand people not only taking all of the money from the industry that is on the backs of these creators that put all of this in, and then get nothing back, and then have to go convince a new person to invest in their next film. Well, how'd your last investor do?
Yeah.
And you don't have an answer. So what we've done is it's all connected, all of the analytics, all of the information from conception, the building of it, all of the investment, all completely transparent, make all of those analytics. So when you see somebody, well, I'm a director and I have 2 movies out. Oh, well, I can see the analytics as an investment. That's huge. Nobody has that ability. I will tell you, I have 2 that are out right now. I'm a lawyer. I'm a litigating lawyer. I'm actually a very scary person in the courtroom. Luckily, we're not in it. But I will tell you, even I, with threats of lawsuits and everything else, I can't get any of my analytics. I can't get any of my contracts. I'm lucky to get any information. How am I supposed to produce my next film and find investors without that information? They're crippling everyone that is in this process, and they're taking everything from us. And the most beautiful thing that a human can do is create art.
Yes.
Because art is the communication of emotion. It is the way to go through this life, this experience that we're sharing together. And we have this system that is breaking, and that's what we're trying to fix.
I love that.
Very good.
I love that.
Very good.
Thank you very, very much.
I'm not jumping up and down in between because, you know, I've been all over the place the last few days. We've only been in Greece a few days, probably Greece a few days. So, I have Esther.
Yeah. Esther didn't know she was speaking, but I think it's important she gives a background.
Estella.
Yes.
That's why you were looking for
And I was like, oh yeah, you've got to remember Mr. B has no idea how to spell the rest of everyone's names. The good thing is the majority of people in here, so I'll be fixing his typos in the meantime.
It's his superpower.
Yeah.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's an honour to be here. Thank you very much, and thank you for stand up.
Don't take me in the picture, Barbier.
No, I'm not.
So I'm here because I was a musician, a classically trained musician many years ago, and back in the mid-90s, I kind of had to face that decision with my parents going, well, it's all very well. We all only play the flute so nicely, but go get yourself a proper job, dear. So I've experienced my first kind of like heartbreak over having to make a decision between being a creative and like having a roof over my head. Back then, fast forward, I ended up in technology of all places, and I've spent nearly 25 years working with early stage startups and founding teams, helping them to grow and scale. Did that with many types of organisation, music tech, early AI, speech to text, blockchain, decentralized finance, and kind of kept seeing the same thing happening over and over again, which is I get brought in by a vision and a purpose, a very purposeless founder. They get funding, and then 18 months later, it's like, this vision you had seems to have warped slightly because you're no longer purposeless, and unfortunately, you're now beholden to having to generate profit, because that's how this all works. I've never quite worked that one out in my head, to be honest, but it's not a sustainable way of moving forward. And I think where I'm at now is I met Valdir, who very kindly helped me and my co-founder, Hugo, put on an event in March 2025, which was called AMI, which was the AI in Media Industries event. It was only supposed to be a gathering of what we thought were some of the finest minds in terms of right-minded thought leaders within the media and creative space. People that were tenured in the industry, really believed in what they were doing, and also in humans at the end of that, but had been tracking AI well. So we're talking about not hype, not doom, but kind of the reality of where we are now, both in terms of the immense opportunity, but also the things that we need to think about. So guardrails, for example, things like ethics, bias and LLMs, what roles look like, where we need to upskill, where organisations need to think about changing their internal models. Because someone mentioned earlier, agentic AI, if you bring AI into production, then pipelines into the media and creative industry, so the operational part, things need to change. But you don't start off with bringing AI in, you look at your process first and bring AI into that. So kind of back then, we were looking at the space and thinking, this technology is moving so fast. It is, an unprecedented rate of change. And also, where it's global, do you know what I mean? It's like we've not faced this before as human civilization. We haven't had the ability to communicate at the speed that we are now, and for ideas to spread, whether they are good or bad. And if you layer that in with other aspects that we can talk about today to do with trust, my current fear is we do not know, we've never faced time in history where the level of trust in everything, like what you see, what you hear, even what you feel, I think. And that, for me, is kind of the starting point. I think from that, we've got a lot of work to do in terms of getting the power and influence into the right hands, the right voices, to kind of lead the way and to come out of this. We put on the event, AMI. It ended up being a conference down in Brighton. And people were kind of like, this is great, this is fresh. You're not an event company, you're not a conference organizer, you are people that are clearly convening the right people to talk about the right things and then deliver impact. So we set up the CIC, which is the AI in Media Institute, which we've been building very slowly. It's built on two pillars, education and research. We've done one piece of research so far this year on the future of the creative workforce. So we interviewed a few hundred leaders, execs in the media and creative industries. I won't go into what the outcome of it was now, but that was presented at the PET Symposium in April. And our other pillar, education, which I think is the big thing now, it's the most important thing. So education in terms of events online in real life, but also assets. We are building up this year to a very big event in November, which is called FLIRT, which stands for Future Leaders in Responsible Technology. Off the back of last year, we thought, right, this was a thing. We managed to bring people together, and the feedback we had was amazing. This young man here was incredibly helpful, I have to say. A lot of people have told us since of partnerships that they formed, products they're building, services they're building off the back of that event. And now we're like, right, go, go, go. There are brilliant people in this country, and in Europe. There are white-minded, brilliant people who give them the right platform and finding their, emerging communities can, I think, to your point earlier, put the AI in Britain and become, we should be leading the way. We're regarded, we've led the way jointly with the US in media and creative industries for a long time. We've got that thought that we should be using it, and we should be using it to propel the right message and the right behaviour. Anyway, I should get off my soapbox now. I would love to meet and say hi to everyone in this room, because I think
we should be wrapped very shortly, and we've got sort of just over half an hour. We can sort of networking with each other first. And one of the things that you mentioned, with regard to training, one of the things we found while we were doing the Agio myths is like we will set a prompt. I work with Steve on this. We will set a prompt. I want a storyteller. We want a storyteller. Greek thing. Automatically gives us a gap.
Yeah.
Automatically.
Yes.
Right. So I keep saying to him, no, can we have more women, please?
Yeah.
So we just have to be responsible while we're doing it, because we are given the prompts.
Yes.
Like I've got some directors based in Greece that turn around to say, realistically, I have been a director giving prompts all of my career.
Right.
I give a prompt to the makeup department, I give a prompt to the wardrobe department, I give a prompt to my DOP. It's just I'm giving the prompt to a different unit.
Yes.
So, it's about being responsible, firstly, for the content that we create. As you mentioned, a platform that does use AI, but I don't use that one because it creates content I don't think is suitable really for the public a lot of the time. But, we as humans have to protect our future humans.
Yeah.
And so we need to make sure that we're setting up these guardrails. Now,
dignity and all the things that we wish for ourselves.
Exactly. And Peter, I've been told, I've got your name on the list, but do you want to say anything? Because he sometimes goes and puts people down.
Yeah, I can say a few words. So, first of all, I think we need to be realistic and face may say the elephant in the room, AI is here to stay. So that's my starting point. I think I have a couple of objections. So when it comes to doing things with less capital, less resources, why not? We've heard a couple of examples, I don't need to repeat, but of course using AI is a tool. It's a tool like any other tool, can be for good, it can be for bad. But using it, of course, to maximize your resources, there's nothing wrong with that. And some people said apologies, but you're doing the most of it with less resources. There's nothing wrong with that. Actually, it's called maximization of resources. So really, I don't see any issue with that. I think what we have to be careful of is not the use of AI, because AI is the tool. The fact is that we need to learn how to keep a balance between real life or real things and fake things or fictitious things, the virtual reality, what we call the virtual reality. So I think it's a bit like virtual money and cash money, It's in a similar environment here. They're both good things, but sometimes the virtual thing is not real, and we have to keep that in mind. So when we come to situations like we are discussing whether it should be more, whether we should not, introduce this for certain tasks, but rather we keep to. I think that is a bit romantic in a way. That's the old school. The future is that we have to use AI. So, as I think one speaker said earlier, there will be new jobs created accordingly. And I've seen this, no one mentioned games actually in media. Games will be focused on film here, but it's the same reality in game development. Developers who are doing games at the moment, and there's a big meeting at the moment in Brighton, there is a big element of these individuals who are creators who are not going to find jobs eventually, but since the creators are doing their job, of course they can do more with less, as you said earlier. But of course, the industry has to change. This is the same when we had horses, going to cars, and so on. Today, it's changing again between traditional cars and electric vehicles. So that is the future, and we should not be shy of the future. It is a challenge, of course, but we need to look forward and look ahead. So I can bring the example of Malta. We have been at the forefront of this, actually. Way back in 2018, we legislated on creating a legal framework for AI, and it used to be known as machine learning at the time, and then eventually you had AR, VAR, and those others. But today, I think we are ahead of many other states, not to boast about Malta, but we were prime movers, and we have always had such an experience with other things as well. But primarily in this sector, we have about 8 years now experience with managing the AI environment. And we actually created a Digital Innovation Authority, which is leading on to what I was going to refer to now as the near future. It is still a future thing, and we are still evolving as all AI. But of course, AI is not perfect. Let's not forget it's not human error, but AI errs more. Why? Because if you tell it this is a box, it will say this is a box, even though it's a box before that. And I had an example actually, an experience last weekend. Before I came this week, I saw a plane at the airport, and I know the plane, I know the model, that's that. And I said, let me put this picture on AI, let me try it. And I put it on an engine or whatever. And it told me this is a Hercules C-130. It looks like a Hercules C-130, it is a Hercules C-130. And the plane was totally different, it was an Antonov 128. So just to let you, to show you how it can be similar, but the reality could be totally different than what the AI is telling you. And I think that is AI, the difference between AI and human beings. There was another point mentioned, emotion. That when you are designing the creative person is expressing himself or herself, the individual characteristic. My stepdaughter does characters on basically she's a graphic artist, she designs arts and so on. But she specializes in characters. These can never be done to that level of perfection in AI. Although it is improving, I must say, because I was mentioning gaming earlier, and games, they are advancing so much that they are almost there. But as I said earlier, it is not perfect, and it will never be perfect because it is taking data which is existing everywhere and trying to impersonate address the question that we put. I don't want to take more of our time. I think I will stop here. I just a series of reflections on what we've been hearing, And for those who don't know me, I'm Peter Lely, and I come from Malta, but I am the economic attaché and represent the Malta enterprise at the Malta Commission here in London.
Two points. One on the fact that you mentioned about women leadership, and you're talking about gaming. So for the last year, at least maybe slightly more, we've been organizing different sectors of women coming in leadership, representing different technological sector, right? So it's broad brush at where women are. We've been getting various stakeholders right across Europe and America as well as here. I think what we do have here is a reputation on our financial sector. We have still, broadly championed legislative frameworks. I know that EU has done some stuff on AI. The US has gone ahead on crypto because it wants to make money. But we want to do it slowly and carefully and all that, and maybe that has seen often a disadvantage. But I think it's methodical and is user case based, and I think we're on the right path. Maybe everything will speed up at the new Prime Minister, the government coming, we don't know, but let's see. The second point is that among the women, they've also been talking about gaming. So the blockchain gaming alliances have been hosting, I hosted them for the last year here. So they have been talking about how blockchain gaming, how it impacts the community. I mean, don't forget, America, of course, is the largest gaming people, but so is Saudi Arabia. So it's talking about, that's the second largest, and Saudi Arabia has developed its own LLM, but also is safeguarding things that we here say is freedom of speech and we're not going to do it. But I think there's lots of good practice around the world about safeguarding and tools which are localized, because I think that's where we should invest much more significantly in leadership. Because if we talk about the sovereignty of AI and where we are in terms of how we are protecting our data, that's where we're not doing well at the moment, but the government attention towards that. That's really important, because that's what artists are looking for. They're looking to safeguard their own and also keep it within a space where they can get hold of it and not, jurisdictionally out of bounds and out of reach.
And one of the points that I wanted to pick up on as well is, at the moment, if you think of AI as really, it's just a child and someone that's recently graduated, you have to make sure that you're checking its work. Excuse me, we only have 5 fingers, not 6. You have to make sure that it is a good tool for someone that knows what they're doing, but it can be a dreadful tool for someone that doesn't. So, it's the same with the hammer. If you don't know what you're doing with the hammer, you just destroy it and kill it. So, it is like a recently graduated apprentice that, we have to train to push it forward. So I want to give people time to do a bit of networking. So the last person that I have on my list is Britta.
Okay, my lady, thank you for having me here. I really appreciate you. My dear Alkistis Ajir, she's more than a lot of things for me. We have become family over divine wisdom, artificial intelligence, human intelligence, everything of the sort. And they are my media partners in Greece, the 369 Media Agency. Balbir, Vita, Baba, all supporters of my movement and film called Can I Go Home Now, which I went to the war zones in Ukraine to direct. A film where only children speak, no adults, no politics. It is not anti-Russia. As Vita and Balbir will tell you, most of my events are half Russian, half Ukrainian, an equal number of people. So for that reason, I could possibly not be anti any country. Having said that, do you mind if I give my phone to one of you gentlemen, and I will use AI to replace you, but we will not put it on social media? Okay. Can I give you the phone? Because I know you're in film, and I think, thank you.
I'll edit the one that has the
I wonder what you'll be replaced by.
Thank you so much. And my dear lady will be replaced by AI.
Can you get a pretty one?
No, exactly what you want.
But I insist,
Film
it must
or
be
still photo?
No, it must be 6-7-year-old.
Okay, so I have a few reflections. You know, everything I do is revolution. Can I Go Home Now? It's a film about revolution. My media network, as my American gentlemen might know, Hollywood Insider, was about Costa scandal for 8 years. When I took over, I banned Costa scandal, a revolution. My home decor is made in Italy by Italians, and we are slow fashion, a revolution. My champagne is not a Rothschild champagne, a revolution. I work with people who are revolutionaries in their own right. I've been speaking about AI for quite a bit. AI is here to stay, like you said. Whether we like it or not, AI is here. You can fight electricity, but electricity is here. You can fight planes, but planes are here. So what can we do? We need to find a way to work together with AI. One fine morning during Ascot, I was bored after a whole day of races, and I thought I need to make a show. Let's not have any barriers. I'm going to call the show Real Wisdom and Anima Intelligence. Anima, as you know, in Greek is soul. But then my friends have resorted to calling it Ambrose Intelligence, because it's Ambrose. The entire perspective of Real Wisdom is not to fight AI, but rather utilizing human emotions and AI to work together in a synchronized manner. That is the entire goal. My gentleman there talked about making companies ready for AI. So now what has happened is people tell me, well, Britain, you are such a humanitarian, but you talk about AI, aren't you? We are scared of losing control. We're scared of AI getting too much power. And my question to a room full of Oxfordians was, okay, my good sir, what do you have power in? You don't have power in your health, because pharmaceuticals own it. You don't have power in your day-to-day laws, because politicians own it. You don't have power in your education, because politicians own that too. You don't have power in your media, because politicians own that too. And if you're in America, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You can't speak anymore. Hollywood Insider ceased publication in October 2025. We paused for a bit, because my journalists were okay while I was getting all the death threats in America. Now that I've left, they're not happy with getting the death threats. So for that reason, I had to pause for a bit. It's not an end, it's just a little bit of a calibration. Now, for that reason, I would rather have a machine that works with me, that we can come up with an unselfish, selfless decision, because I am quite aware when it comes to machine or humans will always win in a selfish brigade. Whether we like it or not, that is just the truth. Like my ladies have spoken, human observation at the moment for AI is entirely required. What has AI now also done for humanity? It has brought to the forefront literature, poetry, and humanities topic. These were called redundant. Now OpenAI is one of the highest paid salary people in OpenAI is a humanities degree person. The Damuri sister is a humanities person. What I also like about AI, up to now education has been what? For the past 200 years. You have to be born in the right country to get a good education. If not, you have to have enough money to get a good education. If not, you are relegated second class. AI is the first time where tools and education has been democratized. Anyone with access to a technology or electricity can have access to the same AI if they're smart enough or if they're resourceful enough.
Yeah.
How beautiful is that? No matter where in the world you exist, everyone is creating.
Yeah.
People keep telling me, like the gentleman who talked about extras being replaced, yada, yada, yada. Come on, people. The world is such that we have to keep evolving. Coal industry is going down. Okay? Then horse industry went down. The carriages were not needed anymore. Okay? So these are going to happen. We can't cry about it. We have to figure out how to continue further while adapting. Now, AI is going to make us all a lot of money. We know that. AI is going to make certain things easier. We know that. But I will only call AI an actual genius when I have a charity foundation called Humans in Our World. I have served in 120 countries. My film, Can I Go Home Now, is made by the charity. I will only call AI an actual genius when we can actually help the elderly who are struggling on a day-to-day basis. When no child goes hungry anymore is the day I will call AI extraordinary. At the moment, AI is simply doing what humans have been doing for the past 400 years, trying to speed up profit. And only that.
and only that. We have to recover, we have to go ahead. So one of my friends said, well, you talk about AI now, and you are a revolutionary. What are you doing to fix this gap between companies, usability, AI? So I got together with my co-founder, who's a tech person, and him and I have now created a company that, what did Prometheus do? It took the fire from gods and gave it to the humans. What are we going to do, our company? We're going to take AI from the gods and give it to normal humans. Our whole idea is to combine three tenets: philosophy, technology, and civilization. What do? Make sure every company, no matter big or small, we have worked with Nestlé, we've worked with other big Fortune 5 companies as well. Our entire goal is to allow everyday companies and large companies to utilize AI in their day-to-day. So that is our company, making it resourceful. And we can go by people's budget. The name will be announced shortly, because I'm scared if I announce the name now, we haven't copyrighted it. Once we go and get a website, and I'll have to murder you to sleep. Probably AI for that.
You can tell us, but you'll have to tell us.
Yeah, entirely so. So I've spoken, the fear part we have to get rid of. We cannot be scared of AI. When Prince Albert and Queen Victoria brought in electricity, it was fear that would burn us all down. Here we are.
Yeah.
When planes were created, it will crash. Here we are. AI is here to stay. And let's find a way to rein this dragon and make it ours, rather than letting it control us. That's all I have to say.
I made a little bit of a mistake, because Mr. B did get up and make a speech earlier. I thought he'd already spoken, but he would like to get up and have a little 2 minutes. Because, we have to rein him in.
The energy this man's got is amazing. Let me just say, everybody in this room is really, really special. And when Deborah mentioned to me about she's going to be doing this event, one thing that struck in my mind was many years ago when I met Deborah basically explained to me that she was moving to Greece and she was going to do something special in Greece. So Deborah has created a film festival in Greece, and it's a beautiful, beautiful festival. And she gets several local towns involved, local community. And the reason why I mentioned about this film festival is that there's a huge element in it with AI movie making and training people. So give Deborah a round of applause. With that more in mind, let me just also get Rosetta to stand up for a second. Rosetta, stand up for a second. Rita, stand up for a second.
Now sit
Stand
down
up.
again.
No, stand up for a second. Stand up for a second. Peter, stand up for a second. Peter, stand up for a second. Well, that's right. Andrew, stand up for a second. Peter, stand up for a second. Baba, stand up for a second. Barrister, stand up for a second. Stand up for a second. Stand up for a second. I feel like you're getting me. Okay, so what actually happened to me was social media and AI has led me to all of you people. All of you came through AI, giving me an indication, coming up on my feeds, on LinkedIn and social media. That's how I got to know everybody. Initially. But the important thing is building a relationship. That relationship can only be built by feelings. It's great to use AI. I learned a lot when I was asked to help out on an AI generative film festival. In fact, I was so mesmerised, I turned around and basically thought, I'm going to wait until they set up the institute. As soon as they set up an association, it brings standards, it brings things to the forefront. 7 years ago, I went to Barrister and asked her, can I talk about crypto and blockchain, because I've just been banned from the Institute of Directors.
You didn't tell me that.
That's about
well, there was just details I forgot at the time. I wish AI had been around at the time. But what it also led me to do was it led me to look at the opportunities that are there. So, Phil, stand up for a second. Stand up for a second. Right. Phil turned up to the Institute of Directors, and he's turned up to many of my events. in the interim period on blockchain, film industry, and everything. One of the things that did occur when I went to Barrister was Barrister opened their arms out wide and said, I'll embrace it, I'll have a look at it, I'll have a look at basically technology. And she's been a pioneer of it. She's embraced it. So give Barrister a big round of applause.
I think we can all stand up.
All stand up. Bravo!
5 years ago, I asked you to set up an APPG in the Web3 and the Metaverse. You did it, and you changed so much the attitude of people in Parliament. You were at the leading forefront. There was AI there, there was blockchain. It was very mechanical. It wasn't the cutting edge that it needed to be. But without your leadership, you never got it through. Now, I'm coming back and saying, I would like an APPG to be set up in film, generative, film and entertainment. And the reason being was I approached a company called Eros 8 years ago, and I sat down with their founder, who was basically a multi-millionaire, half-a-billionaire, etc., etc. And their business was stalling. They were stalling in India, and they were the leading distributors. They needed to change their attitude. They needed to change their outlook. So they've embraced AI. They own about 16,000 films, and they're using the films that they own.
I think we're in 6, yeah.
They're using the films that they own, and they're actually using it for generative AI to actually enable people to change the endings of films, create characters, because they own the copyright. The industry is at its infancy. That's why I generally believe we should set up an all-parliamentary group in this space. And Barry Susan, I'm lost. Well, that's all right. So big round of applause. Thank you.
Why are you all looking at me?
It's a birthday wish.
Okay. No, I just want to tell you that one thing which I do not do trips on other members of parliament and colleagues. Yeah. And there are some fantastic work in progress by not just film industry, but on copyright, on literature and everything. And I think it's really important that we identify some of those colleagues and work with them. So thank you, Balbir. I think that Eros will find its own way with all their millions to the right place at the right time, inshallah. Thank you.
So I'd like to thank everyone for coming today. We were saying we've got sort of like 5-10 minutes before we have to leave the room. So if anyone wants to sort of interject with each other. And you may have noticed just across the hallway is the House of Lords gift shop. So if anyone would like to go and treat themselves to something. But thank you all for coming.